Now we would want to look at lamb. We're going to first start by breaking the lamb down into its three primals. We're first going to start by taking the shoulders off. We're making an incision or a cut just at the end of the brisket bones there. We use the boning knife to do that. Then we use the steak knife to follow that cut all the way through, so you have the same rib coming off both sides. Then we'll take a saw and we'll saw through the top breastbone and then right through to the end and remove both shoulders. The next thing we're going to do is take off the gigots. You'll see I'm using the heel of his knife to find the end of the H-bone. Once he's found that, he'll just slightly on the H-bone make an incision right round the carcass straight, and then take it off, saw it right through. Next thing we're going to do is the loins. Firstly, we're going to start taking out the kidneys. These ones are very lean. Usually they're surrounded by some fat, but we'll take off any excess fat that's there. The next thing we're going to do is take the flank off. It's quite important here that we're taking it off in a straight cut, using the eye of the loin and the leg of the chop to make sure you've got a straight cut and you're not leaving too much of a leg or too little of a leg. Then again we'll do the same on the other side, and we'll see that we'll have nice sized chops. The flank will then be cut into pieces which will go for soup, or oftentimes it's good for broke or making pie meat. It's unusual to do this, but we're going to remove the double loin from the single loin. I like to do this and keep them and prepare them ready, so they're always at hand if I need them in a hurry. Firstly, I'm going to remove the top part of this, which will expose the spine bone, and I can make a straight cut with the saw right through. It's important that you get a straight cut there in the middle, or you'll have all the bone one side and all the flesh the other side. Just further trimming it there, and then I'll take the central nervous system out of there. It's no good to no one to go straight into the bin. Now when we're cutting chops from this, we want to try and make the chops quite even. You can't really see it just there, but they are quite even chops. I lost the cleaver. When you're cleavering, you have to be very careful that you're not going to cleaver your fingers. So your eye should always be on where you're going to chop, and do it very straight right through. 2, possibly 3 chops at the most. And you'll see these chops are very evenly cut. So that's the central. You've got your double loins cut. Now we're going to go into our leg of the jigget. We're going to remove the H-bone, Again, this is not usual. Again, what I'm doing here now is I'm going to remove it in two parts. It makes it a lot easier. There is a gap that goes through there. If you just turn your knife at that point and just follow it, that'll come straight off, which then makes it very clear and easy to take off the H-bone itself. Principles is still the same, whether it be beef or lamb or pork. You want to continually angle your knife to the bone, and just mostly using just the tip of your knife and follow the bone right down. And here we'll have the ball and socket joint that you need to break there. That's a socket you can see exposed. There's a little tendon in there that you need to, holds them both together, you need to cut. Always good just to remove any excess at this point. I'm now going to take the shank off. Find the shank joint by wiggling it slightly, and you'll see the movement there. You put your knife in and just cut it straight through. Here at this little bit here, some people take it from the very top. I prefer to take that little knuckle along with it, so we're not leaving that knuckle inside in the meat. And now we're going to use a technique called tunnel boning. I'm going to tunnel this small marrow bone down, working my way around it with a knife until I can almost feel the top of the other end of the bone. And once I've got there, I just go from the other side now and release that round about it, keeping my fingers out of the way. And just moving the leg around. And it comes out straight. So now we'll have the jigget all boned out. We'll have the shank and the bones. Now we're going to remove the chump from the jigget itself. We'll have the jigget and the trimmings. We're now going to do the shoulder. Take off the shank first. Find that joint just by wiggling the shank until see, and look at the movement. We'll put a knife through, we'll turn it completely over, crack the joint, and then follow the bone round. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the brisket bone. That first cut there goes along a line of small joints. We'll then remove the excess from the front of the brisket bone, and because we'll put our knife along there, along those joints, this brisket bone will come off easily. And we'll turn it, and we'll see the seam there that we can follow until the brisket bone is completely removed. The next thing we're going to do is take part of that chain off. And then we're going to go between each of the rib bones. It's important that you have a sharp knife for this, because the it tends to drag the meat rather than cut it properly. Then we'll make a cut through the very end of the ribs there, going onto the neck, and then take each individual rib down through the back, and follow right down to the end, each one individually. Now, because we've broken that joint, now it's a matter of following the bone all the way around, keeping a knife angled to the bone, and finish off breaking that joint, and it'll come off very easily now. Next thing we're going to do is finish off taking the chain. We're making my knife go in and out the bone there, and I'll remove the rest of that chain. And then I'll define the bone the other side. And then I'll bring my knife in underneath a wee channel there, into it, then over it again, and just follow that right round until I meet the incision that I just made the other side. I can remove the neck bone. Next thing we're going to do is remove the spale bone. We'll find that by making sure that the shoulder is facing you. You put your knife down on top of the spale bone, then let it slip down the side of the spale bone, and then open it up, as you can see me doing now. Now you can see that the spale bone is at its widest there. You know that it's going to narrow down, so you make a full cut right up to the joint, and then define the bone with your knife, at the tip of your knife, just edging round each side of that bone, and to define that bone. The next thing you want to do is you want to break the joint. Again, it's another ball and socket joint there. You want to get your knife right behind that, and then pull it. And then we can take the last of that out. And that's your spale bone out. The last thing we're going to do is take the small marrow bone out. And again, we'll use the tunneling technique, working your knife round about the bone until you feel the top of the other end of the marrow bone, and turn it round and release it this side as well. Sometimes it's good to hold the bone as I'm doing the other side, and pushes it out, and then pull it. So it's a kind of push and pulling technique with the tunneling. We'll bring this little bone out. And that's it, completely boned out. We're now going to roll the shoulder after boring it. We're now going to roll it. We put the skin side down and we'll begin to trim. What we're doing at this point is we're taking out what's known as a camel here. It's just really a piece of gristle that can't be eaten. That's the first thing. The next thing we're going to do is just continue trimming the shoulder. Any loose fat that we see round about, just take off. And this piece of fat that I'm going to take it out now, it's a triangular shaped piece of fat. I'll work my knife down both sides of it. Now this is quite important that when you're doing this, you're going right through to the skin on the back. So when you're taking this off, you have to be very careful that you don't have your knife go right through the skin and make holes in your final product of rolling. Any other pieces of fat that you see there, you just want to lift them off. There's always a little piece of gristle in there that needs to come off as well. Fat's always in the very self-same places each time, and so you have a real good idea after doing a few where all the fat is hiding. Again, here there's always fat just around where you've taken the shank out. So it needs to come out rather than rolling it in and having a fatty shoulder. So now what we're looking to do is square off the shoulder so you'll have an even roll. And the little piece that's at the end there is a neck, and that gets put away with all the trimmings, and again it'll always be used up in either pie meat or sausage meat. When you roll that up like that, you want to do it quite firmly, continually looking to see if there's any other fat kicking about. There's always a piece of fat just around the front end, depending on how fat the lamb is, how much is actually there. Now we're going to roll it. And when we're rolling, we're always starting at the apex, the highest point, and just working our way from that highest point to make the roll even. Now the knot is very important. I'm doing it very slowly here, doubling up to show how the knot is made. I'm trapping my finger there, as you can see, bringing the knot through there, which allows the knot to slide. The idea here as well is to have all your knots in a single line hidden down the side of your your row. Again, I'm doing it slowly just to loop over. And then with this wee end piece, I'm making another lock knot. We'll do it. Next knot we'll do it slower just to a better idea. So firstly crossing over, bringing it under, and I'm trapping my finger, and then I'm bringing the string round and through the hole that my finger has made and bringing it tight, making it even, holding the meat firm and bringing it down, making that lock knot just by making a loop and sticking the end through. It stops that knot from sliding if it's ever any pressure on it. And then we'll have it. An even knot with the trimmings that will go into pie meat or sausage.